Well there, welcome into our New York studios. All but one game on the SEC slate this week has a ranked team involved. They got 5 in the top 10, 2 of them playing each other, and it's kind of a fun one if you know, from the Nick Saban heyday. You got Lane Kiffin matching wits with Kirby Smart, like an old Bama spring game. Going between the hedges here, Rick, and Georgia's won 8 of their last 10 against top 5 opponents. That and home field is pretty daunting, but Lane Kiffin's just the guy.
And Lane Kiffin beat him last year and made it look rather easy. It was a dominant performance. Listen, this is going to come down to who can run the football. And both of them have been effective at times running the football. So now it is who can stop the run. And right now, the team that's better at that is Georgia. And Georgia being the home team, I'm going to lean the Dogs, but this is going to be a wild game. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to take the entirety of it in because this is a chance for hotty-toddy fans to finally get to the promised land. A win here, and they're that close to college football playoffs.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's to me, it's interesting. I would love to see this Georgia offense if they had their regular offensive line, if they didn't have the injuries. They ran for 79 yards last week against Auburn. And Gunnar Stockton took some serious shots. That's a tough kid. And it means basically they have to resort to a shorter passing game because he can't hold the ball that long. It's going to be tough, I think, for the Dogs. I know it's at Georgia, but then again, so was Alabama a couple weeks ago.
Aaron, are they going to get those tackles back? Did they play last week?
They did not. I think they've been banged up, and it's been all season, really. So they've had a rotation of 3 to 4 guys, and that inconsistency really has hampered their ability to be able to push the ball downfield. Remember how small ball Gunnar Stockton was going to be, and then boom, that game happened, and he was able to hit those deep shots, the 4th and 26, or the 4th and 6, rather. The thing that Georgia needs to do is to be able to push the ball downfield. They just haven't been doing that, Randy. I thought you made a good point about the protection. They've got to find ways to do that because that's the one thing that Ole Miss can do. They got 46 plays at 20 or more yards. Most of those are through the air. So that secondary that's been as vulnerable as we've ever seen for Georgia is going to be tested. They can stop the run. Ole Miss runs it to keep people honest, but that's not really kind of their thing. This is the best opportunity Ole Miss has had to put their stake in the ground and prove that they're ready to take that next step versus a super hot start and they faltered down the stretch is what is all we've ever seen under Lane Kiffin. I ain't saying this game is do or die for Ole Miss, but this is the best opportunity.
Great opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's similar to Indiana going on the road at Oregon last week. And Indiana announced to the world that, hey, we're running with the big dogs now.
Authenticate.
Yes, and that's what Ole Miss needs to do. They need to go into enemy territory, get a dub, and say, hey, we're ready to take our game to the next level. Watching Georgia defense last week, there were plays to be made. You mentioned that secondary, and they're going to be tested. Yes. They were tested last week. Auburn didn't have the quarterback to make the plays because there were plays there, and they were simple throws that couldn't be executed. Trinidad Chambliss, and he should be the starter. I know there's some question whether or not Austin Simmons is coming back. You have to have a hole in your head if you pull this young man down the way he's been balling. And it's not just his arm, it's his legs as well. And they pretty much carried him to victory last week. First game where he didn't throw over 300 yards, but still, he was the engine and he was everything for that offense. He makes that thing go, and it's just amazing to watch this young man from Ferris State coming to the SEC and just tear it up as he's done thus far. He can make those throws that Jackson Arnold could not make by Auburn. So if they can get Lacey, who rushed for well over 100 last week, get that balance in this offense on the road, and the defense, which had the most sacks they've had in the game this season, 4, they can show up and pressure Gunnar Stockton. It's an excellent chance for Ole Miss to announce, yes, we're for real, and we're going to be big players. Look out, college football playoff.
And the Rebels are coming off the win over Washington State, much closer than anyone expected.
They didn't show up.
Georgia went to their rival, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, Auburn, and got the win. They had trailed 10-0. We thought Auburn was going to take a 17-0 lead. There was the play at the goal line, which they're saying was a fumble punched out before it crossed the plane. We thought it was a touchdown. But can you guys help me understand, like, what to make of the moment where Kirby Smart comes running down the sideline signaling signaling. It looked like.
So
I know he has a funny way of signaling timeout sometimes.
Kirby Smart has proved right there. That's a timeout.
That's a timeout.
If you watch though, if you ran that again, you would see him coming down. He's calling timeout, but he's saying clap, that the defense is clapping.
They're trying to draw their
They're
own,
trying to draw because when you get in loud stadiums, instead of trying to scream, especially from the shotgun, instead of trying to scream a snap count to guys who can't hear it, the clap ends up being the sound that they can hear. So if the defense is clapping, it ends up becoming mimicking the snap count. So he was trying to say that, but he was using his hands like this. So then he tried to go out and explain it to the official. And in this case, there's a timeout, right? That's a timeout. You see the right hand going, in a T.
And he's running toward a
referee. Right. And then as the referee comes out to the field, he goes and tries to explain himself. And he's earned the right to explain himself. And they basically gave him the benefit of the doubt right there.
But you look, as he's running down the sideline, he's looking up and to the left. Up and to the left, up and to the left.
Okay, Zabruder.
And I think it might be, what's he looking at? Probably the board, right? So he's not looking at the official saying, hey, they're clapping. He's looking up. That means he's either looking at the scoreboard or he's looking at the clock.
Right.
So he said that, we would have
got. Now he did. That's a completely different hand signal.
100%.
But he explained himself, and he got the benefit of the doubt. When you're Kirby Smart, you win 80% of your game. You got 2 national championships. You can talk your way into a couple of things. And you know what? The job he's doing right now is as good as it's ever been at Georgia because he does not have a powerful team. He's got a really good team, but not the powerful team, and he's still finding ways to win.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. And they play with heart, man. That's the thing, even with the punch-out, right?
Yep.
The ball looked like it across the plane.
Huge play.
Those dudes fight tooth and nail to the last moment. They are bought in. They're just not as talented as we've seen. Their defensive line now isn't. Their starters aren't as good as their backups were 3 years ago.
By the way, since we're having a little bit of fun here, these guys. I was in the hallway with you in Tuscaloosa, listening to them go back and forth. So the weekly press conferences are always fun with Lane Kiffin, but listen to what Lane Kiffin said about the matchup, and I guess the question was about who burns more calories during a game between the two.
Who do you think burns more calories in a game you were in?
I don't know. That's a good question. I walked by the TV and saw his press conference today, so it don't look like he's burned too many calories. But he does have a lot of energy in the games, and he coaches really passionate. And I've given him heat before about the weight loss part. He says he's too stressed to work out. But even as you watch him coach on the sidelines, you can't really tell what the score is because he's so into it, and his teams play that way. And he overcame the adversity of playing in one of the hardest night places to play at Auburn, and so they do a really good job of not panicking.
I think we got a really good football team, and I think it shows every Saturday we go out and compete. I don't study the film of the ones we don't play, although most people you don't play, you get on crossover games, but I'm not in the process of evaluating. I'm evaluating us and Ole Miss right now. I'm not a big revenge guy. I mean, they could have said that last year about us because they came here and played the year before. I'm big into what gets us to play our best, and that usually comes from intrinsic stuff for me, not from looking at the past. Those teams were different teams, and this team's a different team.
All right, so Kirby obviously didn't get a chance to respond to the Kiffin jab, but Kirby gets ups. We've also seen Kirby jump pretty high in celebration of big moments.
No one's more into coaching than Kirby.
Oh, he's animated, and you have to love it. I mean, he's a former player as well. He's coaching at his alma mater, and he's very animated, and his team, they buy into that. That's the reason he's sitting there with 2 national titles, and he's always in the hunt for an SEC championship currently.
Yeah, Kirby he coaches with the same intensity he played with. It's fun to watch, but it's as much fun to see the interaction between those guys that were on a staff together, obviously under Nick Saban, and
nothing like winning.
Know each other pretty good.
Nothing
like winning.
No doubt. Speaking of winning, raise your hand if you have Georgia winning this game. 2-2. Okay, cool. That'll do it for us for now from in here. Watch us all season long on Inside College Football.